The implantation of certain beings on this earth have risen to such a degree and have brought utter chaos to this planet. It is to be known that a small handful of these implanted ones know that this has been done, and that their guidance is helping them sort out this role. As one knows, sometimes it is very hard to see, even when things are right in front of you to be seen. Sometimes things have to be shaken up so fiercely for one to recognize that a snake is slithering in the grass beside them. When that point comes for one to notice what is going on, determines right there and then the sanctification one has with themselves, which means that one's fiber of being is intact as a pure soul connection, and where one cannot hide any longer from one's true identity. This sanctification also warns one in the sense of where one's senses are. As for one to be able to recognize a feeling or feelings that are responsible for one's detachment from their true identity. This is when a closer look needs to fall into one's lap, one might say. But how can one have a closer look if one is so wrapped up in a moment? It is where one finds themselves in over their head even before a reasoning can obliterate a purpose. We tend to think that the true nature of life is for one to be riddled with this fierce, provoking reminder that life is one big hardship. This idea falls short when one becomes aware of their presence in a way that takes one away from the maniacal bend of the mind's transactions. A presence can be lifted through these transactions, just as an elevator lifts one to another floor. But it can only be accomplished by one choosing to push the button for the designated floor they would like to be on. Although each floor is going upwards, it does not necessarily mean that one is finished and ready to move on. The only way in which one is ready to move on will stem from how one chooses to see things and by noticing their reactions to those things. It is not about becoming numb to the very thoughts that disgust one, because this will only elongate one's progress. The best way to support oneself during these times is to assure oneself that as these reactions come up, the elevator is taking one up as well. It is as if one has kept their promise, their end of the bargain, to help release themselves from the convoluted web that has been designed to destroy mankind. So this promise one has made to themselves comes through as an actual release from the structure that taught one to believe that struggle was the only way to be anywhere and anything in life. Especially the struggle to seek an identity that one thinks they need to identify with because of another's identity. This topsy-turvy idea halts one's elevator of life because one cannot be present in their own identity. An illusion of a reality is taking place instead, whereby one has dedicated their mind and body to be fully present and reenacting another's identity. One could call this blasphemy of the cruelest nature, for the human to hold such disregard for themselves, to close one's eyes and shut their own soul out by ordaining another as a more godlike figure to identify themselves as. This is the sacrilege that is easily ignored from this illusion of life. For every bit of propaganda one is fed through the enormous amount of identities ones think that they are choosing, eventually boils to the top.